Welcome to Oxy Arts Community Studio series. My name is Patricia Yossen and I make sculptures. When I work in my art, I usually create several pieces at the same time. I like to think about my sculptures as characters that speak to each other, so I like to create them in groups. Let me show you a couple examples about that. Here we are in my garden. I like to gardening a lot. I like to put in plants, veggies, flowers, and I like to put in my pieces and set my pieces in my garden. I have this set here that are 6 pieces, all of them kind of related to each other. When I was making them, I was thinking, how they gonna interact? I also have other pieces a little bigger. Those are also kind of characters. They are kind of functional pieces. They are ovens and compost bins. And I use it to give it more life to my garden also. We are back at the studio. I mentioned to you that I am an artist, but I am also an art educator. And when I work with my students, I like to encourage them to create their own art, their own creation, to express themselves. And that's what I would like to do today. I would like to invite you to create in the same way that I create when I make my sculptures and when I create my garden. So I have a sample here that I want to share with you. It's a miniature sculpture garden. And I made this with a dough, salt dough that I create myself and with materials that you can find at home. This salt dough is made out of flour, salt, and water. And it has the consistency of cookie dough or bread dough. So it's very good to work in your hands. I also use for my project to give it the color, some watercolor. You can use any other kind of paint that you have at home. I use a couple paintbrushes. I use some sticks or toothpicks. Those are really good to make details in your sculptures. Your sculptures are going to be small. Those are kind of miniature. So you need some tools that are very tiny, teeny. I also use a piece of cardboard to glue my pieces on the garden. And I use just regular kind of glue, white glue. Let me show you how to make the salt dough. I have a bowl and I'm gonna mix in this bowl a half a cup of flour, just regular flour. Show it now. And I'm gonna mix it with 1/4 cup of salt. Gonna mix it with my hands. I'm gonna mix it with 1/4 cup of water. I'm gonna add this and I'm gonna mix it. And the consistency on this dough have to be very soft. Because say there's a consistency of like a cookie dough or like bread. It's a very soft material. And it's a material that works really well to make small pieces. This is not a material to make big sculptures, but it's a fantastic material to work in small details. So let me show you here. And it's very pleasant to work with. So this is how we have to looks like. You see, if you put in 1 or 2 fingers, you see that it gets a mark very easily. It doesn't have to be sticky. It have to be soft and malleable. So when you have your material done, I'm gonna move my work here. I'm gonna work my surface. Have a little bit of water here. Clean it. Okay, so now I'm gonna start working in my sculptures. And when I work in my art, I work with several pieces. I don't work only with one. So I would like to invite you to create like at least 10 or more pieces. Those are small pieces, those are not very big. I'm gonna show you now a couple techniques. I make like a little bowl here. And I'm gonna show you how to make some marks in this. So I'm gonna get my toothpicks and I can make some marks like this. And what I'm gonna do with my piece is I'm gonna repeat several models. So I'm gonna create one, and I'm gonna repeat this like several times, maybe 5, maybe 10. I can also create different shapes. Once I have my 5 or 6 of this, I'm gonna create maybe some like arches. And I can make some that maybe has like spikes, and I'm gonna pinch with my fingers just like this. And you can see that this dough is very, very soft. If you want to save this for 1 or 2 days, you gotta wrap it in plastic. This dough dries very fast. So you can put it in a plastic bag and maybe save it on the refrigerator. Gonna make some smaller also. I'm gonna create different sizes in my little miniature sculptures. What happened if I make a towel of them? That is another thing that I like to do in my work. I like to arrange, I like my pieces to play like in equilibrium. I like to arrange them. So maybe this can be something like this. Maybe 3 of them together. Gonna create other ones. I'm gonna invite you to make your own sculptures, try different things, try with different tools, see what happened. See what happened when you modulate them. This one is probably too tall. What about if I make one roll? Whoop. This is kind of funny, guys. So I think I'm gonna pause my video here and start working in my pieces and creating several, maybe 5 of each size, maybe 10 of each them. I'm gonna pause here and work in my creations. Yeah. And I will see you when I finish it, all of them. I have some of my pieces here done, and I'm gonna set them in a tray, in an oven tray, and I'm gonna put it on the oven for 30 minutes. You can also try to let those pieces dry outside on the sunlight. If you leave it for like a couple hours, they're gonna turn hard. Or you can do this process on the oven and set your oven at 200 degrees and let it dry for like maybe half an hour. This depends on the thickness of the pieces. If some pieces are very thick, like you see those are very small, those are probably half an hour is gonna be enough. I have my pieces here that has been drying on the oven for 20 minutes. I left it 20 minutes and this is enough for the thickness of my pieces. I'm just gonna put in here, and now we're gonna do the funny part, or a part that I like it a lot, that is to color them. So we're gonna put in all those. Oh, look at this one. This is a funny guy. It's a very interesting way. When it dried on the oven, it tilts in one side. I think it looks pretty good, way better than before. So I'm gonna put in all my pieces here, and I'm gonna start painting them. Okay, clean up my spot. And I have here watercolor. I was gonna mark them. I have here my watercolor, and I'm gonna start coloring them. I'm gonna invite you to try with different ways to color in. You can just apply one color, or you can try to do some lines or polka dots, or create a variety of colors in one piece. So I'm gonna let it dry there. I'm gonna paint it. Very simple. Watercolor is a very beautiful material. It gives you a lot of freedom. You can use also acrylics. You can use even paint houses. You can use any color that you have at home, any paint that you have at home. And I am thinking also how I'm gonna arrange those pieces. Since I am working in a sculpture, sculptures are three-dimensional. That means that they have 3 dimensions: the height, the length, and the depth. So how I'm gonna arrange them in a way that I'm gonna see this piece from, oops, this one escaped. I'm gonna arrange my pieces so I can see it from every angle. I'm gonna see it from the front, in the back, and the side, and maybe the top, for sure the top. So sculptures are 3-dimensional objects. We have to think about that when we are arranging our composition, when we are thinking about how I'm gonna display my pieces together. I may stop here the video so I can finish it with color, and I'm gonna go back when all the pieces have color. Here I have all my pieces done. I put in some colors to all of them, and I also add a little bit of glitter. They happen that I have some glitter in my studio, so I just put in a tiny bit of glue, and then I dip them on glitter. And I just did the same with those little ones. So the next exercise, or the next part of the exercise, is use the glue and to glue my pieces. And I'm gonna start gluing from the center around. Remember that a sculpture is a piece that I'm gonna be seeing from many different angles. So I'm gonna start from the center, and I'm gonna arrange the taller pieces on the center. And look, I put in a little toothpicks here, the ones that I was using to create the details. And I'm gonna stop this on the center here. Oop. Yeah. and I'm gonna let it dry there. And I'm gonna start arranging the rest around that. Okay, I'm gonna put in those fellows that are, I'm gonna put in this one here. I'm gonna think about how those are gonna look like when I am moving my sculpture around. I can rethink my ideas. I don't know if this is gonna look good here, but I'm gonna try to put it a little bit down. All right. Okay. Gonna put in another one here. Just a tiny bit of glue is gonna work well. And then I'm gonna do all the other ones around. Okay. You may hear a lot of noise here since my neighbors are cleaning the garden. Put in those ones here. So I can hear a lot what is happening in other houses. Okay. I think those three over there, I like it, okay. And now I'm gonna go around and think about what I'm gonna see from this angle. What I'm gonna see from here. Remember, we are creating a sculpture garden, a miniature sculpture garden that you can see from every angle. This looks more like a candy shop. This maybe is a kind of like an underwater candy shop. With those. Oops, this is falling. Some of them it may fall a little bit, and they need some support. Okay, here we go. Can I use this? Okay, I'm gonna turn it around one more time. I'm gonna see it from here. I'm gonna put another one here. And one more. This one maybe here. Yeah. Okay, and now I have my piece done. And here we have our final project. It looks like a totally underwater candy shop. It is a garden. It's like a eatable garden, right? I'm gonna invite you to create your own miniature garden and think about what happened with this garden. What happened? Could you walk around? Could you imagine yourself in walking under those arches or climbing on top of those kind of lollipops? And when you have your production, when you finish it, take a picture and share with us. We are at Oxy Art at oxy.edu, or you can share in any social media and tag us at Oxy Art. I hope you like it and enjoy it and try it yourself.